Across the vast plains of Texas, where golden rows of corn once stretched endlessly beneath the open sky, a silent crisis is unfolding. Thousands of acres of farmland, carefully tilled, planted, and nurtured by hardworking families, are now being ravaged by wild hogs. These animals don't come one or two at a time. They arrive in groups, sometimes dozens strong, under the cover of darkness, moving like a tide across the fields. By morning, the damage is staggering. Corn stalks snapped in half, irrigation lines chewed through, entire sections of crops uprooted and wasted. For many Texas farmers, this isn't just frustrating, it's devastating. These are not corporate farms with deep pockets and insurance cushions. These are generational lands, passed down from parent to child, where every ear of corn represents effort, hope, and survival. The scale of destruction is hard to comprehend until you see it up close. A single sounder of feral hogs can destroy an entire acre in one night. Multiply that by the thousands of sounders roaming freely across the state, and the result is a level of agricultural loss that no one can fully stop, only try to manage. Farmers are losing not just profits, but time, stability, and peace of mind. Every night brings the risk of another raid, another field gone to waste. In Texas, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a crisis. Local authorities, wildlife experts, and even federal programs have been mobilized, but the problem continues to outpace the solutions. Drones, traps, helicopters, and night patrols have all been deployed, yet the hogs keep coming. They're smart, they adapt quickly, and they reproduce at an alarming rate. For now, the only constant is this. Every night, across thousands of cornfields, the battle rages on. And for the farmers standing guard over their land, the fight to protect their crops and their way of life is far from over. We can't afford to wait any longer. The time for hesitation has passed. Out here, in the heart of farming country, every hour of inaction costs real lives. Not human lives, but the lives of crops, livestock, ecosystems, and the fragile hopes of hardworking families who depend on their land to survive. For too long, the wild hog crisis has grown in the shadows, underestimated, misunderstood, and, in some cases, ignored. But now, with herds tearing through fields by the hundreds and losses mounting by the day, one truth has become crystal clear. Hunting isn't optional, it's essential. It's not about sport or pride. It's about protecting homes, feeding families, and preserving the land itself. Each moment we delay gives the hogs an edge. They move quickly, breed faster, and learn from every mistake we make. While we debate, they strike. While we rest, they regroup. They destroy crops worth thousands of dollars in a single night, tear through fences meant to protect cattle, and leave behind a path of destruction that takes weeks, sometimes months, to recover from. For the farmers, it's not just frustrating, it's heartbreaking. These aren't abstract statistics on a spreadsheet. These are real people, with real bills and real mouths to feed. And when a season's worth of work is trampled under the hooves of an invasive species, the damage is more than physical, it's emotional, generational. That's why we hunt. That's why we go out night after night, even when we're tired, even when the odds feel overwhelming, because someone has to draw the line. Someone has to say enough. The farmers can't do it alone, and neither can the government. But together with determination, strategy, and unwavering urgency, we can push back. We can protect what's left, and we must act now. Because every minute we wait, another field is lost. And for the people who live off this land, there's no backup plan. There's only the land they love and the wild fight to save it. These wild hogs aren't just strong, they're smart. In fact, their intelligence is one of the most frustrating and dangerous traits we face out in the field. Earlier today, we chased a sounder across open farmland, thinking we had the upper hand. But they didn't panic. They didn't scatter blindly like some wild animals do. Instead, they led us deliberately into the dense edge of a nearby forest, a place they clearly knew well. Once inside the tree line, everything changed. The terrain shifted from flat and open to rugged and shadowy. Thick underbrush concealed trails, tree roots twisted like traps beneath our feet, and visibility dropped to just a few yards ahead. And somewhere in that tangled chaos, they vanished. We scanned the area, listening closely. Not a twig snapped, not a grunt sounded. It was as if they had melted into the woods. These hogs weren't fleeing in fear, they were executing a plan. This is what makes them so hard to control. They use cover to their advantage. They double back, hide in shallow depressions, or lie completely still under brush piles, waiting for the danger to pass. Their camouflage is almost perfect in woodland terrain, and when you're deep in the trees, every movement, every breath must be calculated. One wrong step, and they'll bolt or worse, charge. We press deeper, slowly, watching for the smallest signs. Freshly turned soil, broken branches, the faint scent of musk in the air. The forest was silent, but heavy with tension. These hogs had made this place their fortress, and we just entered on their terms. But we couldn't back down. Not now, not with so much at stake. The longer they hid, the more likely they'd return to the fields by nightfall. And so we continued step by cautious step, knowing full well that to outsmart creatures this clever, we had to be even more patient, even more determined. The hunt had become a game of wits, and the forest, it was their chessboard. As the blades roared to life and the machine lifted off, the entire landscape unfolded beneath us: cornfields, woodlots, open pastures, and the dark scars left by hog destruction. Within minutes, we spotted them. A large sounder moving through a clearing, oblivious to our presence above. From up here, their patterns were clear. They grouped tight, rushed forward in bursts, then froze in cover, thinking they were invisible. The thermal imaging and sharp eyes from the air revealed every tactic they used. And now, we had the advantage. Coordinated with teams on the ground, the aerial effort became a game changer. We herded them toward waiting traps or cut off escape routes entirely. Each pass of the chopper scattered the hogs into more vulnerable positions. Shots were taken with precision, quick, humane, and effective. It was the kind of efficiency we rarely achieve on foot. In just a few hours, we cleared more territory than we could in days by land. On another day, new sun, same mission, we gathered once again to hunt. This time, our numbers had grown. Word had spread through nearby counties, and more people showed up. Seasoned hunters, local ranchers, young men eager to protect their land, and even a few retired veterans who knew their way around a rifle better than most. It was a sight to behold, dozens of trucks lined up at the edge of the property, engines still ticking warm, men and women unloading gear, checking optics, passing around radios, sharing maps marked with hog trails and fresh sightings. What started weeks ago as a handful of volunteers had now become a well-oiled unit with a common purpose. This wasn't some weekend hobby. This was an organized response to an escalating crisis. We had skilled marksmen joining the ranks, people who could track movement through thick brush, hit a moving target from hundreds of yards away, and work silently under pressure. The energy was focused, serious. There was no loud joking, no careless bravadoonly strategy, teamwork, and a shared understanding that every step we took today might make life easier for a farmer tomorrow. We broke into groups, each assigned a zone. Radios crackled with short bursts of instruction. Drones launched overhead, feeding back live thermal footage. Scouts moved out ahead, identifying bedding areas and watering holes where hogs might be resting during the day. The sun hadn't even reached its peak when the first shot rang out, and from there, the momentum carried us through field after field. This wasn't just a hunt, it was a coordinated push to reclaim territory. What made it even more powerful was the sense of unity. People from different walks of life, some who had never met before, worked side by side, rifles slung, eyes alert, driven by the same goal: protect the land, protect the harvest, and push back against the growing tide of destruction. And though the hogs were many, today we were more, and we were ready. Off to the side, away from the main group, we had two hunters working solo, experienced, quiet, and confident in their craft. They weren't part of the larger formation or the drone-coordinated push. Instead, they chose to break off and sweep a wooded draw where hog activity had been spotted the day before. At first, we didn't think much of it. Sometimes, solo hunting means lower numbers, fewer chances, and a tougher time herding hogs into position. But not this time. As the rest of us focused on covering the wide open fields, a sudden crackle came over the radio's short bursts of communication, urgent but controlled. Then a voice: "We've got pigs down. Multiple." Most of the time, our hunts take place under the scorching sun of summer-dry fields, buzzing insects, and the distant shimmer of heat rising off the land. That's when the wild hogs are most active, tearing through cornfields and wallowing in muddy ditches to escape the heat. But today, things are different. Today, I'm taking you into the heart of winter, into a frozen, snow-covered landscape where everything changes, including the way we hunt. The ground is hard, the air sharp, and every breath turns to steam. Snow blankets the fields, covering trails, quieting footsteps, and amplifying every sound in the silence of cold. But it also offers us a powerful advantage: visibility. Unlike the camouflage they enjoy in warmer seasons, wild hogs in winter stand out like shadows on a white canvas. Their coarse, dark hair, perfect for blending into brush and dirt now, betrays them. Against the snowy backdrop, even the slightest movement draws attention. We no longer have to rely solely on tracks or damaged crops to locate them. From a distance, their black forms break the horizon. Even in the low light of winter dusk, thermal scopes light up their body heat with crystal clarity. Another advantage: with snow covering much of the underbrush, their hiding spots are limited. Gone are the thick green thickets and dense summer grasses that usually give them cover. In winter, they cluster near tree lines and rocky outcroppings, where the sun still reaches the ground and where they can burrow for warmth. That narrows our search. It lets us be more methodical, more focused. And once we find them, they have fewer escape routes of room to run, fewer places to disappear. But don't be fooled. Winter hunting is no walk in the park. The cold bites through gloves, weapons jam more easily, and navigating icy terrain adds a whole new layer of difficulty. Yet there's something thrilling about it, moving through a silent world of snow, breath misting in the air, eyes scanning the frosted horizon for the dark figures that haunt these fields. It's a new kind of hunt, and today, the odds are in our favor. Whether under the blazing heat of summer or the biting chill of winter, our mission never changes. We hunt wild hogs to protect the lifeblood of this land, the farmers and their fields. This isn't a seasonal task. It's a year-round responsibility. In summer, we move through tall corn and dusty trails, sweating through our gear as we chase hogs across scorched earth and freshly plowed soil. The heat is relentless, but so are the hogs. They strike at night, using dense vegetation for cover, rooting through crops that took months to grow. We press on, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Every pig taken out in the summer means one less threat when harvest comes around.